cope with a few first-night nerves. I'm a Celebrity live after Sir Cliff tells all in Faith and Music.
With #1 hits in each of the last 5 decades, Cliff Richard is the most successful British recording artist of all time. But despite a chorus of critical disapproval, he put his entire career on the line to profess his faith in God.
If I have one thing to offer that's of any value at all, it's the message that God exists and that Jesus is alive and he's yours if you want him. I've been criticized for saying that many times in situations like this, but I thumb my nose at the criticism.
To me, the essential part of my faith is knowing that Jesus died so that I wouldn't have to, even though I'm the one that should have been nailed, and that there is a God, and I can be acceptable to God just simply by saying, Jesus, thank you so much, I believe in you, take my life. That's the essential thing that no one can ever take away from me.
Cliff Richard was born in India and christened Harry Webb. His parents were English, members of the British Raj, and life was good.
The childhood memories stay with you. Having an aunt that lived down the road that used to let us go and eat with our fingers, the way Indians used to do it, flying kites, jumping out of this train, all the dogs coming to meet us. My parents entertained, and their friends would come round, my relations would come round, and they'd have a wind-up gramophone. I used to love winding it up. Wind it up, and I'd say, can I put the needle on, put the needle on carefully, and then suddenly this crackly old sound would come out, and out would come chewing a piece of straw.
I'm happy, nothing could suit me more.
But the days of empire were over. Amid the murderous convulsion of Indian independence, young Harry's dad upped stakes and shipped the Webb family back to Britain. Hard times lay ahead.
And then when we arrived in England, we arrived here with £5 sterling. We were poverty-stricken. When we came here, it was very, very difficult for my father to get work. Now, people say to me, oh, well, of course, you're wealthy. Well, excuse me, I wasn't always, and I'll never forget what it was like. 3 of our main meals a week were these pieces of toast in a soup bowl with tea poured on it, milky tea, and sugar on top.
And for Harry, there was worse to come. School.
They realized that I was different. My accent must have been slightly more Anglo-Indian accent. I probably spoke a little like that. And I got treated pretty badly at school, actually. I was bullied a lot. My parents, they'd always have to say to me, how are you bruised like that? And I said, oh, I fell over in the playground. I knocked so many people over that I stood tall in the end, and I kind of learned to fight. What it does is give you grit. It makes you feel, I have to get through this.
Harry's dad was a deeply committed Christian. At 14, Harry was packed off to confirmation classes, but none of it made sense to him. Although in awe of his dad, he made a stand.
And I came home one day and I said, I don't want to go again. I don't understand it. I don't know what they're talking about. And my dad, he went, okay. And he left it like that.
The religion sweeping through post-war teenage Britain had nothing to do with the church. It was a new phenomenon from the States. Rock and roll.
I played truant one day to go and buy tickets for Bill Haley concert, and someone snitched, and I lost my prefect's badge because I'd ducked school. You can't do this, you're a prefect, you're supposed to be an example to the others.
But Bill Haley's lure was irresistible. As the first rock and roll star to arrive in Britain, he was mobbed wherever he went.
Bill Haley was just enormously popular. He came in to the most enormous acclaim. He started off with, everybody razzle dazzle. Everybody. We were on our feet instantly. It was so exciting to watch this. Thousands upon thousands of people. It was like the first rock and roll record that we heard.
Young Harry's appetite had been whetted, but the best was yet to come.
I remember this paper shop, and there was a car, and the window was down. We stopped looking at the car when we heard, since my baby left.
Well, I found a new place to dwell.
The guy came out, he got in the car, drove off, and we thought, what was that? I found myself thinking, this is just so stunning, because there's been nothing like it before.
It's so lonely, I could die. Although it's always
we spent a few days trying to find out who that was. It was listening to American Forces Network, coming from Germany, was beamed across. We finally were able to rush around saying, it's a guy called Elvis Presley.
Just lonely.
It was just so exciting that it carried us on this great wave, and thousands of us wanted to be like Elvis, and a few of us got through. Few of us got lucky.
Harry teamed up with drummer Terry Smart and guitarist Norman Mitham and Ian Samwell to form the Drifters and play local gigs.
And then one day, this guy came up and said, I have a ballroom in Ripley in Derbyshire, and I'd like you to come and play there. We thought, oh, this is the big time. He said, but I need to have, I want to put some posters up, and he said, I'd like to put Harry Webb and the Drifters. And I said, oh, no, we're just the Drifters. He said, no, well, no, I know, if you want to come up, it's got to be something else, if you don't want Harry Webb. So we went to a little pub, and over a beer, talked about names. Somebody said Russ Clifford. I said, Russ Clifford. Then somebody said, what about Cliff Russard? I went, Cliff, that's a great name. Cliff, rock face, rock and roll. Yeah, okay, Cliff's good. Then somebody said, Cliff Richards. And then Ian Samwell, who wrote Move It, said, why don't you take the S off Richard? Then you have two Christian names, which is kind of unusual. So that's how it came, Cliff Richard. And when I went home that night, and I said to my parents and my family, I've changed my name. And they all said, what to? They didn't say, what? I said, well, I'm going to be called Cliff Richard. And they went, oh, fine, okay.
Okay, come and get it. It's Oh Boy!
TV entertainment was in its infancy. ABC's Oh Boy was the very first all-music show. It was created by a producer called Jack Good.
He took new artists of that day, myself, Marty Wilde, Billy Fury, Dickie Pride, a whole bunch of people, and we would sing the songs that were being successful in the charts. So you'd hear a voice saying, and here's Cliff to sing whatever it was. It was great for us because we learned our trade that way. Famous one of three of us, in fact, doing a song called Three Cool Cats. Marty, me, Dickie Pride. And I looked like a greasy slob. I mean, I just don't know how I survived it. Jack Good was very helpful, made me cut my sideburns away, said it's just too much of an Elvis takeoff. And don't play the guitar, get rid of the guitar. I'm thinking, oh no. So he's the one that actually said, stay where you are, stand, I'll tell you what to do. He'd tell me to sort of turn on a line, don't grab your arm until you sing that, lower your eyes, look up. It all helped me so much. Helped me a great deal too without really knowing. But they talked about smoldering eyes, and pouty lips and all that business, and I could do it then, but I can't pout anymore. But I saw, oh really? Oh, I'm not aware of doing that, and then I just did it more. So, and I looked in the mirror and went like this, or whatever it was, and I thought, oh yeah, okay, that's a good look.
Come on, pretty baby, let's move it and I'll groove it. Shake, baby, shake, but honey, please don't lose it. This rhythm that gets into your heart and soul. Well, let me tell you, people, it's called rock and roll.
My first record, Move It, was really a happy accident. We went into the studio, and Norrie said, well, Ernie, we kind of need an intro to the song. Cliff will sing it down there with you, and then you can see that there's gaps in between the lyrics with like some fills. Anyway, Ernie just went, da-dun, down, da-dun, da-dun, down, down, and Ian Samwell started this, and suddenly we were off and running. And then when we went upstairs to listen to it, we thought, I sound American. We sounded American. And in fact, when Hank Marvin and Bruce Welch, when they first joined me, they auditioned at my house. And they said, we thought you were American. We had no idea that you were English. And I used to be so proud of that. And I've sung it ever since, funnily enough. I still use it on stage.
Ian Samwell left the lineup and the Drifters became the Shadows with the inclusion of Hank Marvin and Bruce Welch.
Come on, pretty baby, let's move it and I'll groove it.
It was a hit in South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, all around the Far East, and suddenly, within a year or two, the Shadows and I were being invited to sing all over the world. I was only 17 and a half when I made that record.
Let me tell you, people, it's called rock and roll.
I was thrown into the deep end, so to speak, and I really did have to learn while running.
Just don't know what's going to replace it.
I lived and loved the excitement of it all. I loved it going on stage at night. I remember Bruce used to come up to me and say, let's have a raucous in the audience. Let's get a riot going. And then I used to move around a lot more, and the girls would all come rushing up the front. And of course, we used to annoy our management because they used to say to us, look, we've got to get out of this hall. The only entrance is at the back. We're going to have to run. Do not have a riot. And Bruce would come up and say, to hell with them, let's have a riot. So all of that was going on, and it was wonderful.
Next, the turmoil when Britain's most popular vocalist found God.
When the pressure's on, you need to take every chance you get. And now, when they need the points, can Man United stand the pressure? Man United, Villarreal, Tuesday 7:30, ITV1.